Wednesday, May 11th, 2020.
Right, right.
Welcome back. I have my co-host Carlos Ponce here. We're recapping last week's show. We did two shows last week, and one of them was with Scott Robinson, who's the founder of the app company. And then we also spoke with Jesse Fewell
Company.
of jessefewell.com about his upcoming book. And we talked about how companies can apply 7 principles of transformation to manage your transformation. It was kind of a bit of a play on words, but interesting conversation about being open to break away from traditional, best practices, if you will, in terms of how you look at making changes within an organization, which is probably very important, especially with what's going on today in the market. And many companies are facing a dilemma that they've never faced before, not at least in our generation. So being open to new ideas and breaking away from traditional norms of doing things is certainly good advice. I really enjoyed the chat on Tuesday about apps for everyone. I found it encouraging to know that small businesses don't have to have a huge budget, number one. Number two, a whole team of developers to create something, to build an app, right? So, which could be very appropriate today for doctors, dental offices, whomever that wants to create a community and give them access to even setting up an appointment or unique things that maybe you might have an idea about, but you don't have the budget like a big company to go and spend $20,000, $50,000 on an app. So I thought that was encouraging because they've basically created a similar format that, the managed WordPress model where anyone could build a site, and similarly, anyone could build some apps. What came up for you guys during that conversation? Was there like an idea that came up as he was talking to us about, man, I'd like to do that? That's like been sitting in the back of your mind. I'm curious to hear your thoughts, guys. Oh, thanks, Kim, for joining us. We're also joined by Kim Lantis.
Hi.
Hi,
Sorry.
Kim.
Working
Welcome.
from home. COVID times. Sorry, late
Yes.
today.
Aren't we all, Kim? Aren't we all? Right?
Yes. So what came up?
Yeah.
Were you
one of the things that one of the things that really stood out for me was something that very encouraging, which is I'm talking about the app company, and the most important thing that I think was relevant was the possibility for a whole bunch of entrepreneurial spirits out there that might be on a shoestring budget or on a tight budget, but still they might have this great idea, and there's a way that they can do it very affordably, I would say. And so that's going to be very encouraging for a lot of people nowadays, because I'm sure that a lot of folks are thinking beyond the traditional employment scenario. So they're thinking about, starting their own thing or going in that direction. And I think that because of the reasons that I mentioned, that, situation's really not, as it used to be financially. So it's a good way. It's a good way to bring our ideas to life through the creation of apps at a very, very affordably. So there are many great ideas out there that are going to see the light because of this. That's my take.
What about you, Kim? What did you think about?
I really liked the genesis of the app company, right? Well, this new addition to their company, this idea that their SEO was really high, and so they were getting a lot of calls and a lot of contact from companies who basically couldn't afford them. And there was this idea of see a need, fill a need, and how can we help people make apps affordably? And I just really love that this entrepreneurial spirit as well. Of just making it accessible, and so much that I'm kind of curious. As internal communication here at Nearsoft, I was thinking to myself, like, maybe this is something that we could tap into as well. Maybe use it and investigate and make our own as a way to help people stay more in the loop. We have a variety of tools that we use, but I'm wondering if there's a place for an internal app here.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
I'm curious to pursue that.
There could be.
Well, what I like about it is it's a bit of an equalizer, right? So if you have a good idea and you're a small business and you want to act as if you're a big and well-established business, or at least have the presence and capabilities of one, now you can. Whereas in the past you might have gone and said, I have this idea, and I'm like, oh, you have a $50,000 budget? And I'm like, no, I don't. So now that kind of goes away. And possibly for freelancers and stuff, there's been plenty of WordPress developers in recent years who will build a site for you, right? Even though you can do it yourself. So that creates it expands the gig economy and an opportunity for those folks. So I really enjoyed that.
Like,
it gave me a bunch of ideas. I was like,
yeah.
I could probably build something. I'm not an engineer, but I could probably build something.
Yeah.
So
and
create
act like it, but also use it to become that bigger and larger and better.
Exactly.
Company,
and the
right?
internal use is a smart use, because a lot of companies may not have the budget to devote for internal apps, but now it's something like that they actually could, even if you're a big company. So definitely check out the app company, check out the show. It was a good conversation. Moving on to Wednesday, we had Jesse Fewell. Did I say that right?
Fewell.
Yes,
Yeah.
I did.
Fewell.
And he was talking about 7 principles of transformation. Did anything stand out for you guys in particular in that conversation? I found it refreshing, this idea of breaking away from the traditional best practices. Everybody looks at the McKinsey study or whatever other best practices are shared, and sometimes the best practice is actually to do away with those things and maybe look at things from a fresh perspective. What did you guys? What came up for you guys during that?
Yeah, time? I never got the sense that he was, opposed to best practices. I think he uses them. I think he's pro them. But what I really liked is what you just mentioned, this idea of adjusting best practices to your own environment. And I think that tapped into what he was talking about this idea of transforming your transformation, and how even within transformation needs to occur, right? This kind of cyclic element. He mentioned, I think there at the beginning, this cycle of boosting and then hitting barriers and then rebounding, right? So getting that buy-in, getting people excited, and then you hit these blockers. And now you have to overcome these blockers with that rebound, and then, watch, rinse, and repeat, right? And so I really liked that idea. I think something else that stood out for me was this idea of his 7 moves, which I thought were all very useful and insightful. That it doesn't have to be anything that is chronological or done in a particular order. That you pick your pain point, right? Pick what you're feeling right now in a company and focus on that. And I also was encouraged by his idea of when we're facing barriers, we have to identify assets. Like, what is working, what is going well. I think that's a first step in keeping up, as we say in Spanish, the animal, right, of people. And then when you are facing barriers, this idea of triaging, right? What can be changed quickly and what's going to take time, and using that to come up with your solutions.
There were 2 principles that I really enjoyed. One was this idea of what I call enrollment, right? Instead of selling an idea or pushing an idea, top down, it's about enrolling people to participate, voluntarily. So that's a very different style of leadership, of communication, because it is about enrolling people. It's about getting people there who want to be there with you. So I thought that was very encouraging. And I don't think companies do that enough, right? And then the second was this idea of giving it away, right? So enroll people, and in the process of enrolling people, you can also give things away. Because what I've discovered personally over the years is when you enroll someone on a vision or on an action, they take more ownership of it. It's easy to say, why don't you take that? This is a great idea. You run with that, right? So now you create an environment where through the enrollment of people and wanting to participate, they also want to take ownership. And you kind of solve the dilemma of how do I get people committed to doing something? Well, the idea is you don't get them committed by forcing it on them. You get them committed by enrolling them and then having them voluntarily step up to do the work and giving it away. So I thought that was really good tips. A lot of companies could certainly learn from that and put that in place. That's how we operate here at Nearsoft. So we know,
right.
At the end, I remember saying, we don't have those problems. We just don't, we don't operate in that impress the boss mindset. So that's another way to handle that stuff, but that's another topic for another day. Anything else, guys, come up? Otherwise, we're up on time on our recap today.
Mastering the art of saying no. I appreciated that one a lot. This idea of I think you said, in order to achieve achieve organizational focus, right? Talk about tongue twister. Achieving organizational focus. That sometimes we have to say no, that we can't attack everything at once, going back to that idea of triage. And I think that's important as well.
And for me, the tagline itself of the play on word itself of transforming your transformation, that's I think it's the concept. It's very interesting because it talks about an organization that is alive, that is never like stale or stalled or whatever you want to call it. It's not, there's nothing set in stone. It's always open to coming better, and so even if the company says, yeah, we're going to go ahead and transform, and then we reach our goals, set. It's not about that. It's about being alive, and just like yourself, we're always changing, we're always implementing, trying new things, and transforming our own transformation. And so that's the concept that I really think that a lot of companies should adopt in order to, especially in this day and age, that things are changing rapidly. They need to transform their own transformation process. So in order to remain alive, that's what I really fancied about this conversation with Jesse.
Yes, very timely. Okay, so what we got coming up? Tuesday, tomorrow, and Wednesday. I think tomorrow, I'll let you do Wednesday, Carlos. I'm ready for tomorrow. I'm excited for it.
Yeah. Well,
you ready?
Yeah, unfortunately, the Wednesday Dojo Live was unfortunately put off by our guest, so we're not.
Okay, so Wednesday we don't have a show, but tomorrow we have a show.
Tuesday, that's tomorrow. We're going to be speaking with Dirk Schmidt, speaking to us straight from the Canary Islands, I think, and he is the founder and CEO of BizTech, and virtual events platforms. And we're going to be talking about virtual business events for companies in emerging tech. That's tomorrow, 1 p.m. right here on Live.
Very timely topic. See you guys tomorrow. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for joining, guys. Have a great rest of your day.
Thank you all. Bye-bye.